The mission is not the mission statement. A few years ago, the entrance of any large corporate building displayed a mission statement. If the business was prone to indoctrination, employees could recite the statement word for word. Whether they really understood it was less certain. Trawling the internet, I found a site that claimed to be publishing the mission statements of all Fortune 500 companies. As the 500 most valuable businesses in the US, you might expect them to produce good mission statements. If the list was accurate, they don't. 80% did not convey a sense of purpose that would get me up for work. Here is an example, picked rather randomly, offered by a railway. Our vision is to realise the tremendous potential of the Burlington Northern and Santa Fe Railway by providing transportation services that consistently meet our customers' expectations. If I worked for or invested in BNSF, this specific mission statement would not arouse me, so it is sadly typical of what I saw. I'm not on a witch hunt against BNSF. This wasn't the worst example. At least it's short, many rambled, and this statement has an important grace. The reference to tremendous potential tells me that BNSF's managers have an emotional attachment to this railway, which I perceive to be a good thing. I just thought this example contains some oft-repeated shortcomings. I'm going to pull 3 of these shortcomings out for you to think about. First, the example starts by saying our vision, but doesn't paint a vision of the future. A strong vision is a great thing. Remember Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. But it's a different thing from a mission statement. A vision describes some desired future state of the enterprise against which we can measure the progress. Vision is a management tool. It's like the destination you key into your sat-nav, allowing you to set a route and estimate your journey time. But the sat-nav doesn't know why you want to go to that destination. By contrast, mission is a desire. It's the motion to get to that particular destination. BNSF's mission statement talks about vision but doesn't paint a picture of the corporation's future. It leaves us with no idea how the managers of BNSF will judge success. So this isn't a vision statement. It seems the managers of BNSF don't really recognise the distinction between mission and vision, and that's a common failing. Second, the statement talks about tremendous potential, but there's nothing that describes what form this pent-up energy takes. Perhaps it's the skills of the workforce, or the intellectual property they own, or assets they have, or loyal customers, or even investment funding, but it's not clear. The phrase suggests management think they can offer the world some resource, but I've no idea what, which makes me wonder whether they know. Third, the statement says the mission is to consistently meet customers' expectations. Now, obviously, it's good to avoid failing your customers, but this is a basic condition of survival, not of growth. BNSF is a railway, not a space yacht or famine relief. People have run railways for 150 years. It's not a new art, and it didn't arise unexpectedly. If any established industry, if you do not consistently meet your customers' expectations, your competitors will. So whilst the management says its railway has tremendous potential, the aspiration to consistently meet customers' expectations suggests their ambition is limited to survival. So, boiling this example of a mission statement down, all it says is that the managers are fond of their railway and would prefer that it didn't fail. I'm not excited by that. I wouldn't invest in a team who said their ambition was a quiet life. As an employee, it tells me to keep my head down or move on. This is a good example of a mission statement that lacks any sense of mission. Now, I don't know enough about BNSF or the people who run it to know whether there is mission in the enterprise. In my experience, railway people love railways, so BNSF should be able to harness this passion to create a sense of mission. Maybe the management at BNSF do instill mission. Maybe they just aren't good at expressing themselves on wall posters. Maybe it's all there, just not well explained, and if it is, brilliant. Whilst a good mission statement is a useful thing, what really matters is the sense of mission that underpins it. That said, for highly paid intelligent people to come up with this twaddle suggests to me that there is something wrong. A friend of mine used to be the finance director of a major UK utility. When he read this, he said the management were just aiming low to limit accountability and maximise bonuses. That's possible, if a bit depressing, but I have seen another scenario that leads to missionless mission statements. My guess is that there may have been no consensus in BNSF's management team. Maybe they compromised the statement to avoid political tension among themselves. They had differing personal missions that didn't align. If I'm right, this is bad because the managers were pulling in different directions. Whilst it would have been uncomfortable for them to acknowledge and resolve their differences, the differences were being allowed to persist and would continue to block any direction and commitment until addressed. So here's the warning. The inability to express a shared sense of mission in a mission statement might indicate a fundamental disagreement about the direction of the enterprise that will impede leadership and change. Let's regroup a second. What have we seen from looking at this example mission statement? First, a mission statement can only make sense if the enterprise leadership share a sense of mission. Second, mission and vision are different. The vision comes after the mission is clear. Third, at one level, mission describes the purpose of the enterprise. And four, at another, mission is the energy or drive of the enterprise. It is the desire that fuels growth. In 1940, Winston Churchill gave his first speech as Prime Minister to Britain's Parliament. He was charged with leading the country in a war that many people thought unwinnable. Prior to delivering his speech, he gathered his ministers together and explained that the odds of success were not great, that he didn't have a clear plan, that if they fought and lost, each of them could expect to be executed, but that he personally intended to fight on because he believed they were fighting for the existence of enlightened thought, and he placed more value on this than on himself. He gave each minister the option to leave if they wished without recrimination. They didn't. When he spoke to Parliament, he didn't offer much vision. He famously promised nothing other than blood, toil, tears and sweat. There was no plan on which to build an optimistic vision. But there was no shortage of mission in his speech, most clearly articulated thus. You ask what is our aim? I can answer in one word: victory. Victory at all cost. Victory in spite of all terror. Victory however long and hard the road may be, for without victory there is no survival. Got it? Churchill is often cited as one of the great leaders of people, yet he wasn't a good manager. He wasn't good at admin, he left that to others. He wasn't especially good at military strategy, even if he thought he was. He often upset people, especially when drunk, which he was most days. He suffered his life with depression. He wasn't good looking and had not been especially popular with the British public prior to World War II. But at a time of crisis, he made clear what the nation's mission was and rallied people to that cause. He quickly became the iconic symbol of resistance to the Nazis. He grew popular with the British people until his death and far beyond. He had a state funeral, something we haven't done for any other Prime Minister. Yet oddly, when war was won and elections held, his party didn't win, largely because they couldn't articulate a mission for peacetime when their opponents could. Churchill's mission was victory. It didn't look beyond. So it's not enough simply to give a good speech. You must have a sense of mission worth conveying. Of course, most of us can't replicate Churchill's rhetoric, but most of us have the capacity to show conviction in what we believe. So if we can all agree that direction, energy and drive are vital prerequisites for the success of any enterprise, how can you proactively manage such intangibles? In the next segment of this talk, I'll define mission in a way that is more manageable, at least sufficient to diagnose when its weakness is the cause of failure. In subsequent sections, I will provide ways of addressing any problems you diagnose.